Chicago's segregation, unfortunately, is steeped in a history of racist policies and discrimination. And that's how you end up with certain neighborhoods not having the investment or the resources. Folded Map is a project where I am doing a visual investigation of Chicago's communities using its grid map. And I'm starting that project based in my home community of Englewood, and I am identifying mirroring points on Chicago's map and essentially comparing them. And the corresponding neighborhoods to Englewood on the north side is Edgewater, Andersonville, and Rogers Park. So if you were to essentially fold Chicago's map, those would be the neighborhoods that would touch Englewood. And so I want to explore what segregation looks like and the difference between those neighborhoods by having photographs, portraits of residents, video of the neighborhood and the environment, but more importantly, to have residents on the same streets in Englewood and the north side corresponding neighborhoods actually meet each other and talk to them about the differences and see where the conversation goes. What I was most surprised by, because I didn't have any intention on talking to residents when I started on the project, I really just wanted to identify addresses, real estate buildings, and compare how the structures looked, and then just the environment. But of course, some of the addresses included residents' homes, so I was taking pictures of people's homes, and that's when I started meeting residents, because obviously they start coming out saying, "What are you doing?" And so I explained to them my project, and they were interested, and that's how I identified my first resident pair. So what was most surprising was how receptive they were, and then also I asked the residents 5 questions together and separately to kind of get to the heart of how they felt about their neighborhood. And when they answered those questions together, they were really empathetic towards one another. No one blamed each other for being in a specific part of town. There was no insults. People were really interested and wanted to connect. And a lot of the North Side residents who had never visited Englewood were now going to visit Englewood for the first time through this project, and vice versa. So it was really powerful to see residents talking about some really tough issues around housing, education, crime, and just the economic difference in the neighborhood, and really just starting a dialogue. Everyone answered the same thing when I asked, what is it that you look for in a neighborhood? And all of them said community, people that they can connect with. And that was consistent across the board amongst all 4 resident pairs. I think it was just about time for a Chicagoan to really just put out in the forefront what Chicago segregation looks like. We all know it's there. The best example that people tend to use is when you ride the Red Line train, how it goes from one racial makeup to the next. So I was like, but there's so many other examples of what segregation is in Chicago and how it looks, and I really just was like, it's just time to bring it to the larger public so we can begin to have some conversation around how to dismantle it, because it really is a problem. It affects what people think of each other, it perpetuates stereotypes, and it really does have a financial impact on communities.